Now in this video, we should look at the interview basics, right? So what are the basics which you need to remember to ensure that your interview goes well and you crack it? First up, let's look at the objectives of the interview, right? So what is the interview being conducted for, right? So the interview is there for the interviewers to understand you well, right? So that's something which they want to do. Only if they understand you well can they make a decision on whether to select you or reject you. That brings us to the next point, which is they are looking to find reasons, right? So they're finding reasons over there to select you and not reject you. A lot of you go with a negative mindset. What if I come up with the wrong answer? I'm going to get rejected with that. The fear of the unknown. What could they ask me? Don't do all of that, right? So make sure you're confident. Understand they're looking to find reasons to select you and present them with those, right? Last up, what's unique about you? What is it that's different about you which you bring to the table? They don't want to have a classroom of 60 students who are all alike. They want diversity. They want people from different backgrounds, different thought perspectives. They don't want just achievers and achievers and achievers. They want to see people who have had a sort of a failure in life and how they bounce back from it. They want people from all backgrounds who are going to be contributing towards the case discussions and other events and the committees and the B school as a whole. All right, so you can't have templated individuals, and they don't want that. So you have to bring about those experiences or instances of you and highlight it to them, and they need to find out what's different about you and what do you bring to the table and your life stories and experiences, right? So what do you start your prep with? We saw this in the previous video of our video series. If you haven't watched it, please go and watch that. What should the panel know about you? List out the points, right? So think about the stories, experiences, or instances, and polish them a bit, and make sure that you present them well. Achievements and initiatives, list them out. And the last part which we looked at were the areas, right? The areas you need to prepare for, you're unprepared for. Make sure you list them out and work on those. Next up, what are the areas which you need to prepare for? First up, of course, is academics, right? So within academics, let's say you'll typically be asked a question like, list out one or two subjects which are your favorites, and you could be asked questions around that. Make sure you know them well, right? Work experience, right? So know what you have done, remember, recount those internships, projects, if you don't have work experience, current affairs, and the HR questions which you should prepare for. Ensure that you are well prepared for those. Now on to the interview etiquettes, right? And grooming and postal tips. That's the main purpose of this video, right? So first up, ensure that you are professionally dressed and well groomed. Professionally dressed, what is it? Business formals for men and women is what I would say. For boys and girls, wear a suit or and formals, right? Trousers and shirt. Guys need to wear a tie as well. Some of the girls might be asking if I can wear a sari or formal wear. Leave that to you, but preferably, or rather what has been the case pretty much across our business formals, see if you can adopt that. Now in terms of grooming, girls know how to take care of that. The bigger issue is with the boys, right? So you have a beard, you want to sport one, ensure it's trimmed perfectly or properly, and comb your hair and other basic things, right? So generally the guys do not care too much about it. Ensure that for the interview you are well groomed. Now, how do you sit in an interview? Ensure you sit with a straight back, right? You're not slouching. Keep your hands on the armrest and not on the table. The table belongs to the interviewer, right? Keep your hands on the armrest. You don't need to move it across. You don't need to keep it on the table and speak this way, right? So the feet, people ask, right? Feet on the ground. Avoid crossing knees or ankles. In some cultures, it's looked at as a sign of confidence. In some cultures, crossing knees is looked at as a sign of disrespect, right? So avoid it. Just keep your feet on the ground and your arms on the armrest. Sit with a straight back. That's a good posture. Now the last part is this: do not be still. Do not be still. You can move your head a bit, and you can, while you're speaking, that's normal. You're thinking, that's fine, right? So, but do not start moving your hands too much, right? Move your hands a little bit, but not too much over there. So do not be still. Next up, what are the do's for you, right? What should you do? First up is this, right? Smile and have a pleasant expression. Now, if you're not a natural smiler, don't fake it, right? So don't try to create a smile. Just have a pleasant expression, right? So just do not be looking serious or looking to eat them up, right? So just have a pleasant expression if you're not a natural smiler. Have a positive and confident demeanor, right? So they're looking to select you. They want you to show signs of confidence. Self-confidence is important. If you're not confident, how can you expect them to be confident about you? Next up, look at the panelists that speak. I see a lot of students who look up. You can look up a little to think, and then you come back and look into the panelist's eyes and speak, right? Do not be looking down and speaking, looking elsewhere, right? You can think a little here and there and come back and look at the panelists and speak. Be stress-free, right? So the panel is here to select you, not to reject you. Do not show signs of stress and anxiety. The interviewers know that interviewees generally are a little stressed. They sometimes will try to de-stress you as well. A certain amount of stress, they can bear it. It's fine. It's okay, right? So they also know it's normal. But don't be overstressed, right? So stress brings out generally the wrong answers. You start forgetting things, right? So just think about the question which is being asked and answer them. That's your job, right? And highlight the positives over here for the interview, right? So bring out the positives, speak about those, the stories, the instances, whatever you're prepared for. Ensure they come out and be polite. Now, what are the don'ts over here? What are the things you should not do? And we've seen some of these, right? So do not slouch or cross your arms or legs. We discussed this earlier. Now, this is very important. Do not use informal language, right? Or fillers. My mom does this. My dad does this. My folks at home do this, like this, like that, right? So don't use those. Practice a bit, right? Do not memorize your answers. Do not type it all out and then start memorizing it and restating it verbatim, because it comes out that you're prepared for this interview. They're going to throw you off. They're going to ask you questions which you definitely wouldn't have prepared for. Don't take it down that route. Have bullet points to prepare for, and then restate the same the way you would do, right? So do not memorize things. At the same time, do not use informal language, right? Do not argue or display negative expressions. If the interviewer feels something about you and you feel you disagree with it, explain that, I'm sorry that you've gathered this, but I feel so and so. Put it in a polite way and explain it. Do not argue. Do not lie or fudge the truth, right? Very often this happens with academics. Those who have had poor scores in 10th or 12th. 10th I had typhoid, 12th I had cholera. I mean, everybody knows that, these are lies, right? So in some of your cases, it could have been genuine. Explain it how. But in most cases, 10th or 12th, you weren't too focused on studies. I mean, I didn't do that. At that stage, I wasn't of my life, I didn't do it. At 12, my college is where I got a little serious. And then I realized that I have to start working. So then I decided to prepare for this exam. I wanted to correct whatever had gone wrong earlier to the extent I could. Present it in a confident way. Explain the same thing in a nice way. Accept the truth. I mean, do not try to lie or come up with things which, they can call you on. Focus, right, should be on the positive aspects, not on the negative ones too much. Do not yourself highlight the negatives, saying that do not go on the defensive. My marks have been low because of this. I would like to highlight it. Right? Don't do all of that. And as I said earlier, do not look down on the ground and speak. Look at the interviewers and speak. Looking up a bit is fine to think. Nobody looks down on the ground and think generally, right? If you genuinely do that, that's a different thing. But look at the interviewers while you are speaking. That's about it, right? So you need to remember a few things here. One, they want to select you. They want to select you. They want to select you. Present them with the reasons. For that, you have to prepare well for the interview, do that, and have a confident demeanor during the interview.